Hi, I'm Ben Sayer. Welcome to this introduction to the Perennial Genealogy video program. I've created this program to help prevent your family history research from being lost and forgotten when you can no longer continue your research. Now, whether you've done a little bit of research or a lot of family history research, what you've done is important. Unfortunately, it's likely that only you understand the research that you've done. And it's also likely that you haven't shared your research widely. Now, if your research were a flower, I would call it an annual. It would be an annual flower rather than a perennial. By following this program, you can make it a perennial. You prevent the loss of your research by establishing what I call a steward. Now, a steward is someone who respects and appreciates the work that you've done on your family history. And while they may not continue the research into your lineage, they will at least preserve what you've done so that when the time comes that someone comes forward that wants to continue your research, they will be able to do so. They could hand over the stewardship to that person. Now, this won't happen if you're unprepared. I know a genealogist named Bob who passed away a couple years ago, and I had the opportunity to speak with his widow a year after his death. And I asked her what happened to his research, and her answer was chilling to me. And it was actually the genesis for me creating this course. What she told me was that his computer that had all of his genealogy files and the 3-ring binders on which he kept all that information were sitting in the corner of his office. His son and his family were not prepared and not interested in even taking the materials, let alone continuing the research or enjoying what he had done. Now, this is a common thing. It's not uncommon for our families to not be as interested in genealogy as we are. But if you've been doing this for a while, you understand that people develop that interest, especially as they get older and they have their own families. People start becoming interested in that. And the family genealogist just kind of pops into existence kind of like a flower. So Bob didn't prepare for the inevitable end of his time and his ability to research. So through this program, you can make the time, you can prepare for that, and you can rest easy knowing that your research will be continued beyond your lifetime. Now, sure, the steward sounds like a fine idea, but you may be saying, well, you know, who's got time for that, to be a steward? Nobody's going to agree to take care of my materials for me. And I think you're right. And that was one of the big questions and the problems that I had to solve when I was thinking my way through how to solve this bigger problem that's in the field of genealogy. And the realization that I had is that because stewardship is a burden, right? It's these people, they have to do things, and I don't know what the person's wishes would be for this, and what happens if somebody gives me information that corrects something that's in the research. What should I do with all that? And that's absolutely right. That's a big burden. But as the genealogist who's looking for a steward, you can make stewardship possible by preparing for that and transferring that burden from the steward to yourself, right? So in this program, I help you to think through your wishes, what communication should happen with whom and when, and bundling all that up in a nice, neat package so that you can talk to your candidates, people who you think might be good stewards for your materials, talk to them and show them what you have. And what I think will happen is that candidate will look at what you've done, and two things will happen, really. One, they'll see that it's not such a big burden on them, that you actually got it all bundled up and they just need to take care of it and maybe send a couple emails or a letter or something once in a while. So it's not a burden on them, their time. It's a tiny, tiny thing. And the second thing that I think will happen, because you're picking the right person as a steward candidate, and they appreciate the work that goes into the family research, they're likely to think, oh gee, I need to do the same thing for myself so that someone else will cover my materials for me when I can no longer do it. So this course will help you, walk you through what materials to prepare, what thinking to do to be able to prepare those materials, how to identify the candidates for your steward role, how to engage one, how to ask them, what to do once they agree, providing them the materials and reviewing it with them so that they understand what you've got and your wishes and all that sort of thing. And then, just as important as the rest, in fact, critical to the whole thing is scheduling refreshes. So say you're providing them a GEDCOM file when they first agree to be the steward, and maybe a mailing list and the document, the simple, informal even document of your wishes for how your materials should be kept. Once you've provided that to them, things change, including especially the contents of your GEDCOM, because you're still actively researching. So what you want to do is schedule refreshes of that information so that what that steward has at any given time is relatively fresh. So you don't just do it and forget about it, and then 10 years later, oh no, you pass away and you've got a steward, but they've got old information, and you could still lose what you've got. So this program will walk you through all of those steps: preparing materials, identifying candidates, engaging a steward, turning over the materials to them and reviewing it with them, and also scheduling it, making it refresh, making it perennial. Now this will ensure that your research is not lost nor forgotten. What it takes from you is to, right now, commit to following this program. Now I commit to you, I'm going to create the videos in this program, and if this is interesting to you, you can commit to following the program. Just watch these short YouTube videos, take on the little assignments. I'm breaking them up into very small bite-sized pieces, so it's easy for you to do a little bit at a time. You will have to make time. I understand how it is. I'm a genealogist too, family historian, so I know that it's Parkinson's law applies here. All of a task will grow to consume all the available time allotted to complete it, right? So our research will take as much time as we will give it. So we need to pare back, or maybe cut something else for a little while out of our lives, like maybe give up a TV show or something that's maybe not your favorite, but you're watching now, to carve out a little bit of time as you go through the program. And then you can take that up again, of course, if you decide to, once you're done with the program. But make the time, commit to the program, and enjoy the sense of relief that you get once you have established a steward and you know that your information will be perennial. So before I conclude this video, thank you for taking the time to watch and consider and listen to my words. So, in summary, the program that I'm going to produce and publish through YouTube is how to prepare for stewardship, how to engage a steward, and how to refresh that steward. What I'd like you to do now is to subscribe to this channel. There's a subscribe button on there. Just click that. That'll ensure that you get notified whenever I release a new video in the series, so you'll know you've got some more things to do. And then also, I'm very interested in your feedback, your comments, your questions. Just leave them in a comment on here, and I will answer anything that you put on there.